So today I'd like to talk about a good group structure. First, the number of people that you have in your group. I found that 4 to 14 is nice. You get less than 4 people in there, it's hard to have really a real group synergy to thing. You get up past 14, it's hard to get that individual time that everybody really benefits from. 8 is a good round number. I kind of like 8. 6 works really good. 10, it's starting to be difficult for each person to get in their personal time that they need. That personal attention, individual attention is really what it's all about. That's where the real magic happens. Also, the group needs to be small enough for personal relationships to develop. Without those personal relationships, the group will fragment, people will wander off. So then the second point that I'd like to make is the frequency of meetings. Personally, I kind of like the once a month time period, and that is by far the most common. I know good solid groups that meet every week. Sometimes these are the virtual type meetings where it's a lot easier for the people to come together. I was in a group for years that I benefited from quite a bit that met twice a year. We would fly into a particular city and spend about 4 days together and head out and get back together half a year later. So no one format is really magic as long as it works for you and your group. Once a month, that's what I use now myself. As far as retention goes and attendance rates, I think they're tied very closely together, and it's very important. A 90% attendance rate or higher, I think, is really the acid test. Those people that feel comfortable with skipping certain meetings tend to lead to a much higher dropout rate. In setting expectations with your members, make that a rule. So you want 100% attendance, that it takes special arrangements for somebody to not attend a meeting, and make sure that that's clear up front. Make engagement between meetings crucial. In other words, keep these people in touch with each other and with you in between meetings. And both of those really contribute heavily to keeping members above that 90% attendance rate, which is really important. Length of meetings. I like 3 hours. The group I run right now is really 3.5 hours, but we kill a little time getting things started and wrapping things up. I know of a lot of groups that function well running anywhere from an hour and a half all the way up to a full day. You just have to figure out what's right for you guys. If you have a group of 6 to 10 members and you've got a 3-hour meeting once a month, you can generally work in a good 15 or 20 minutes of focus time for each individual member in that range. If you have extra activities such as having a speaker come in or doing a special exercise or something like that, then this is something you might bump the meeting up and make it a little bit longer to accommodate that. I wouldn't take that away from the time that each individual person receives focus time, whether it's one individual per meeting or an elected group per meeting or everybody. As far as how a group is formed and ended, those groups that are associated with one-on-one coaching, they tend to be open-ended, where you have a seat become available and you onboard and orient, bring on a new member, and then eventually you may have somebody that graduates or moves on, their life situation changes, they've sold their business or whatever, and then another seat. And then that group just goes on forever, endlessly. I've been in groups like that. I really kind of like them. That's the kind of group I run. There's another way of doing it that is significant. It's much more closely aligned with education or training. And that is where you have a limited time period, where there's a start and an end. Everybody onboards and goes into the group, gets going, goes for a limited period of time and ends. Those are generally set up with a preset set of dates. In either case, go ahead a year in advance or however long the thing is to last, and nail those actual dates down and get commitments from your members up front, at least on an annual basis, that they're going to be able to attend those. So to recap on a good group structure in general is 8 members is good, 4 to 14. This allows for individual attention and for relationships to develop, you can meet anywhere from every week to twice a year, with once a month being very common and practical. If you want good attendance, which should exceed 90% at each meeting, really set expectations that attendance is extremely important, and maintain engagement between meetings. 3 hours is a good length of meeting. I know groups that meet for a full day at a time, or groups that meet for as short as an hour and a half at a time. So whether you do open-ended groups that don't really have a start or end date, or if you do limited time groups, the idea is to just provide good, solid structure in between the 2 points, and you guys will no doubt have a successful group.